Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC 163. Overall, it was definitely, I thought it was a good but not great card. We had some nice finishes here. Did get some pretty bad judging, in my opinion, with the Machida versus Davis fight. Aldo versus Young is, well, there's a finish. There's some. It's a bit anticlimactic in a sense. The rest of the card was good. They had some solid fights. Like Barroso versus Oliveira wasn't that great. What else? Most of the other fights were pretty good though. That's as far as bonuses go. Anthony Parash got knockout of the night. Sergio Moraes got submission of the night. And McCall versus Santos got fight of the night. My picks, I got 10 out of 12. I missed the Phil Davis versus Lyoto Machida fight. And the Anthony Parash versus Vinny Magalhaes fight. One thing to note, Brian Stann, man, this guy was a rock star in color commentary, man. This guy, really good analysis, didn't distract from commentary, didn't get overly excited, yet added knowledge and insight to the broadcast. Good stuff there. But yeah, let's get started. Yep, Jose Aldo beat Chang Sung-jung, the Korean Zombie, by TKO in the 4th round. I mean, the way it ended was Jung dislocated his right shoulder, and Aldo started kicking it 3 times, fell to the ground. Ground and pound finish. One thing that's really interesting is the ref didn't catch that. It's Herb Dean. He actually didn't catch that something was wrong with his shoulder. And if, something's I know fighters will fight through it, but to my knowledge, I thought that the ref, if something gets dislocated mid-fight, I think the ref is obligated to say something about that. I remember, was it in Bellator, Jared Haas versus Slamenko, I think? The guy dislocated his knee. He just stopped the fight. I mean, it wasn't let him go on. No, once he saw that his knee was dislocated, that's it. It was done. So, because even Brian Stann actually caught right away, hey, that Korean Zombie's shoulder was dislocated. So yeah, I thought the ref I think it's Herbine, should have probably caught on to that. It's his job. And he has to look out for the safety of the fighters. For the sake of not getting kicked in the dislocated shoulder multiple times as he's trying to reattach his shoulder. I mean, I don't know if it should have gone that far personally, as far as the ref's job is concerned. The fight itself, a little tepid in some areas. They're both really patient. Jung was sometimes Aldo. The first 2 rounds was all Aldo. He'd hit a jab sometimes. Jung would throw a left hook and miss. Jung would go forward. He'd get countered. You notice that Aldo was also using a lot more wrestling. Nice to see different look from him. His corner didn't want him to do that, but and it was a bit questionable why he did that. But it turns out Aldo may have had a broken foot, which is also why he didn't throw a lot of leg kicks, if any at all. And there's some pictures actually mid-fight where, I think there's just a clinch against the cage, but you can see Aldo's right foot was just totally swollen. I gotta say, the first 2 rounds, Aldo was relatively dominant. I mean, Jung couldn't really do anything. Aldo was hitting him pretty clean in the face, slipping punches and whatnot. But around the 3rd round, you kind of saw that I think it was the third round. Not total, he just wasn't totally dominant by then. He looked like his gas. It could be the foot thing too. He's going for a lot more wrestling. Was threatened with a Darce choke. Trying to go for a takedown. I really hate it when fighters go to their knees. Benson Henderson actually is guilty of this too, and Phil Davis can be sometimes as well. They'll go down to their knees and force a takedown like on their knees, which usually doesn't work and gets them in bad position. But yeah, he just didn't look totally dominant. Around the third round and even the fourth, Jung was even hitting him clean. I thought Aldo would have won regardless. But, definitely it kind of sucks how the fight went because you definitely see Jung kind of landing more and just doing more. Yeah, but it wasn't this totally dominant, like, pound-for-pound performance. Aldo looked vulnerable. His cardio still needs work. Once again, how much of it goes to this the foot injury? As far as who Aldo should fight next, Pettis is going to fight Benson Henderson. Within his division, guys who earned it would be Ricardo Lamas or Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson, Chang Sun Jung's biggest win is Dustin Poirier. Cub Swanson beat him, and he also beat Dennis Seaver as well, who's also a top 10 guy. Lamas beat Eric Koch and Cub Swanson. They definitely have cases for the next title shot. I would actually say that Lamas probably deserves it, and he did a really good performance against Eric Koch. Beat him up, bloodied him up with ground and pound, and the main card of Fox. So it's not like he's totally exposed or totally buried under the undercard or anything like that. Chang Sung Jung, he can fight like a Dennis Seaver. Who else would be really good for him? Who's coming off a loss? If you want to give him a Lance or an Elkins, you can do that as well. I know Charles Oliveira is coming off a loss, but Chang Sung Jung's a pretty tough guy to fight. I'm just thinking more higher level guys that are coming off losses, like a Dennis Seaver, for example. I know Eric Koch's gonna fight someone. I think Poirier, maybe Eric Koch. If he loses, I think he'll probably win though. But yeah. So next fight after that in co-main, Phil Davis beat Lyoto Machida by unanimous decision. Personally, I gave this fight to Lyoto Machida. I know a lot of MMA journalists gave this to Lyoto Machida as well. Dana White and Brian Stann gave this fight to Lyoto Machida 30-27 actually. As I was watching the fight, I was having discussions with one of my friends. He thought that he won every round. I thought he should have probably won the rounds, but I was also thinking, the judges probably will give the first 2 rounds to Machida. There was one judge, if they showed the scorecard for this, one judge actually gave round 3 to Phil Davis, which was just really bizarre. Machida was just dominating, was really, had the best offense, especially in round 3. This fight also shows how much that the takedown is valued, and how a takedown at the end of the round can steal a round. I believe on one scorecard it actually it's like Diamato's or something like that. That the takedown was indeed the thing that gave Phil Davis the round. In the first round, he didn't do anything with the takedown. In the second round, he did land some ground and pound and some knees to the body. Otherwise, a lot of Machida's was blocking a lot of Phil Davis's hits, or just Phil Davis is missing. The fault kind of goes to Machida in a sense. The fault goes with the MMA judging. they can't really see what's going on. Phil Davis looked like the busier fighter, so it's kind of understandable in a sense why you'd give it to Phil Davis, in the sense that he looked a lot busier. Was he landing clean? No, Machida generally was landing the cleaner shots, hit to the body, counter rights, and whatnot. Takedowns at the end, once again, there's that thing where, like, should a takedown really be worth that much? I believe Jordan Breen on the SRN mentioned that, like, Phil Davis looked like he was, looked like a man who lost, and then when his name was said in the decision, it looked like he was kind of surprised. Machida, obviously, in the post-fight interview, was a bit angry. Still classy, but you can tell that it's like, hey, what are they looking for, But, I mean, this goes to show, and if you're better, this goes to show that Machida's style just is not suited for going to the scorecards unless he has dominant rounds. It showed in the Rampage fight, and even though he won the split decision against Dan Henderson, the fact that it got to a split decision and it was that close really goes to show that Machida's style just isn't good for going to the scorecards. Backs up a lot. He counters a lot. Doesn't look busy. I didn't even know his output. Like, even as I was watching the fight, I thought his output was kind of low. Then you look at the stats, he outlands Phil Davis, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta check the Fight Metric stats again. I know Fight Metric gave the fight to Machida 30-27 as well. Some are calling robbery. I'm not gonna go so far. I think there's an argument for Phil Davis rounds 1 and 2. Round 3, no. I think this guy named Watt, this one judge named Watt, gave him the third round though. But it does give Phil Davis another big fight after this. Maybe fight like Shogun, maybe Nogueira. Oh no, he already beat Nogueira. I think if Glover Teixeira beats Bader, then Glover Teixeira will probably get the next title shot. What else could Phil Davis? Because Phil Davis already fought Nogueira, he already fought Evans. I gotta say, the division just isn't as strong as it used to be. I mean, he can do Dan Henderson, even though he's coming off a loss. Who else? Jeez, I don't know who else Phil Davis can fight, because it's just one of those things where he's already fought a good amount of light heavyweights. He fought Gustafsson already. But yeah, they'll probably give him another big fight, and then maybe a title shot. I will say Phil Davis looked good. He was in there on the feet. He was looking like the busier fighter. His stand-up looked improved. Just improved. He is definitely there. But it's one of those cases where, like, Phil Davis, I felt looked good, but he shouldn't have got the win. Sucks for Machida. This is a really bad loss for him. He was definitely in title contention. Now he's out of title contention, but you got a new guy in title contention, so it's not the worst thing. A fresh face in there. But he definitely, the thing with Davis, in my opinion, he didn't give a performance that thought, man, this guy will challenge for John Jones. He didn't look like he was really going to finish Machida at any point of the fight. He was going harder in the third round, but Machida was outlanding him a lot in the third. So yeah, it's just one of those cases where, yeah, the judging isn't great, but at the same time, Machida's style just is not good for going to scorecards. if he doesn't have dominant rounds. And in a sense, it is his own fault. It's happened before. I understand he's a counter puncher. That's his style, but he's got to turn it up. If he doesn't want things like this to happen or fights to be this close, don't make it so close. That's and he's my favorite fighter too. I'm saying this, not as a hater. In training. One of the first things I did was, after my first day of sparring was watch some Machida fights to learn, to learn footwork, But he definitely needs to fix his style better so it doesn't go to the judges. Just put a little more output, that's the thing. I know it's not his style to do that, but he's got to do it. Okay, next fight after that, Cesar Ferreira beat Thiago Murata Santos by guillotine choke in the first round. It's a perfect fight. You got one left hook, a high kick, guillotine. The guillotine was really cool because of all the rolling around that happened. It was a really clean guillotine. I think in another card, if Sergio Moraes didn't hit that triangle choke, that Cesar Ferreira's guillotine could have been submission of the night, to be honest. It was visually really cool to see him, the way he kind of, rolled into it. Kind of goes to show that Santos is a bit of an outmatch. It's kind of a mismatch here. Ferreira's expected to win. He also looked really big for the weight class. First, so young, he's a good prospect. He's always had a good guillotine, really good kicks. Training with the Blackzilians now. The Blackzilians, despite everything, their guys in the UFC don't always have, winning records except for Vitor, or they can't keep win streaks a lot of times. They do improve striking for just about every one of the fighters. You see cleaner kicks with Matt Mitrione, Thiago Silva looked like his hands look better. Shot Evans, despite that Nogueira performance, a little more aggressive. Ryan Jimmo, even, little cleaner striking. Nice head kick on James Duna. So it'll definitely help with striking. Who Ferreira should fight next? Just more mid to lower tier guys in the division. He's a good fighter, good prospect. Definitely gonna keep an eye out for him. With Santos, he does look like a mini Vitor. He's getting good sponsors too, Head and Shoulders and Gillette. Which should help his training. And make him a better fighter. So good to see a young fighter get good sponsors. Santos, just more lower to mid tier of the division. I don't know if he can fight at welterweight. I think he's fought at welterweight before. If he can go down, maybe he should. He's pretty tall though. But yeah, good win for Ferreira. Okay, and Talos Ladies beat Tom Watson by unanimous decision. It's got to be said, man, Talos Ladies looked noticeably bigger in this fight. Didn't really affect the fight. I thought his stand-up, in the sense that, who knows what was going on. I shouldn't actually say that. But Talos Ladies' stand-up looked improved. His cardio did not look great. He's never been a cardio guy. But his stand-up looked improved. I think there were times in the fight where he probably could have gone for the rear naked choke just a little more. I'm surprised he couldn't get that arm triangle on Tom Watson. He did almost get that arm bar, but he was against a cage during that time. But Talos Ladies did look like an improved fighter. Like I said, stand-up's a lot better. He used it as an entry to the clinch, which in turn got the takedowns. So yeah, he looked good. He should just fight more mid to lower tier of the division. Tom Watson, he hung in there. That's all I can really say. His gas tank didn't look great either. with Watson, he should fight more strikers. He's more of the guy that's gonna have more fun fights, and that's really what he should be used for in the UFC. He can. He's got a personality. He's a fun fighter. I would give him more striking-based fighters as his next fight out. Next fight after, John Lineker beat Jose Maria by TKO in the second round. Lineker missed weight, but, to be honest, I'd like to still see him get a title shot despite that. He's on a good win streak. He's a fun fighter, goes for the finish, and he'd be a fresh challenger for Demetrius Johnson. Despite that, Maria looked good, man. Spinning back fist almost knocked him out. Don't know why he gave him a little too much breathing room after that spinning back fist. He kind of allowed Lineker to recover. Maria was also landing some nice punches after that. They were landing clean. He wobbled him a couple times, but kind of unfortunate. It looks like Maria got an injury, and that's why he got TKO'd. But he looked good. Definitely worthy of a spot in the UFC. You can give this guy Chris Carriasso, Darren Uyeno-Yama, John Moraga, even if you want to go there. Eliard Santos, Lineker, probably title shot despite making weight. He should probably, I know he's missed weight before, he should probably show that he can make weight, but otherwise, I guess title shot. He's just a fresh challenger, hits hard. Don't think he has anything for Johnson, to be honest, but, nonetheless, as far as merit goes, he should probably get the shot. Okay, on to the FX prelims. Anthony Peros beat Vinny Magalhaes by KO in 14 seconds in the first round. Vinny Magalhaes actually said before his fight that if he loses to Peros, he should get cut. He probably should get cut. 2 losses in a row. He didn't look good in these 2 losses. Kind of karmic in a sense, because Peros got KO'd 7 seconds in the first round by Ryan Jimmo, and now he knocks out Vinny Magalhaes 14 seconds in the first round. Peros is like 40, 41 years old, but he's this guy that just manages to stay in the UFC. He's definitely a good lower level gatekeeper. If you look at the guys he's beaten, it's kind of guys that's like, are you good enough to even find the UFC? He's like that gatekeeper of like pretty much the guy to test who's good enough to find the UFC and who's not. Didn't expect him to win with a first round KO. I think there was a 25-1 odds of him doing that. And he has Vinny was like a 5-1 favorite or something like that. Because honestly, Vinny, besides not having a great chin, and honestly, Peros doesn't really have a great chin either. The thing with Vinny, I've seen his stand-up. In general, it looks better than Peros's. His ground game's better than Peros's, and he's younger. I thought this was a lock, to be honest. So when I saw him get KO'd, I thought he was just pulling guard, and it turned out he just got a big right hand. But yeah, Peros, just be that gatekeeper, man. Fight the John Volantes, the OSPs. See if they're good enough to find the UFC. Maybe Francimar Barroso. Just see who's good enough to find the UFC, Magalhaes, this guy might even want to stop fighting MMA, man, because this guy's chin is not great. And also, he just doesn't like getting hit. That's the thing. He's great. One of the best in the world on the ground, but, he has such a liability with his defensive stand-up, Next fight out that, Amanda Nunes beat Shayla Gaff by TKO in the first round. Fun fight. Gaff's just a little too small for the weight class. She does hit really hard, but 2 losses in a row in the UFC. I think she should be going to Invicta, their 125-pound division. needs more fighters. Nice to see Shayla Gaff versus the winner of Leslie Smith versus Barb Honchak, for example. Or you can do a rematch with Shayla Gaff and Jennifer Maia. Amanda Nunes, showed more of a takedown game in this fight. Showed more of her grappling. Managed to take Gaff down and TKO her. Good win for Nunes. I think she should fight Jermaine Durandani next. Both strikers. If not her, there's like Alexis Davis already beat her. You can get the winner of Kaufman versus McMahon. Liz Carmouche, Amanda Nunes wouldn't be too bad. I think stylistically though, Amanda Nunes versus Durandamy would be pretty fun. Okay, next right after that, Sergio Moraes beat Neil Magny by triangle choke in the first round. Submission that year, great stuff from Moraes. Magny was showing a good jab actually, but Moraes got inside, got the trip. His transitions on the ground, especially on top, are just beautiful. The way he transitioned to mount, the way he locked in that triangle from mount, rolled over. He wasn't even facing the right way for the triangle, but still managed to get it. Hit through some vicious elbows from there too, and managed, angled the right way to finish the choke. Rolled him over back to mount. Just beautiful stuff from Moraes. He's a fan favorite in Brazil. He'll probably fight more in Brazil. He's a good mid-level guy. It would be a fun fight. I know Anthony Waldberger versus Moraes would be a really cool fight because they're both submission guys. I know Waldberger's already fighting someone, and I totally forgot who. But I would like to see that fight. Magny, just more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. Next fight after that, got fun that here is Ian McCall beat Ilio Santos by unanimous decision. I liked Ian McCall's defense when he's focused. When he gets into the brawls and gets hit and smiles, puts his hands down, not good. McCall, here's the thing, he's a great fighter. And the thing is, it's easy to kind of look down on him because he lost to, Benavides and Johnson, but they're the two best guys of the division. He's a really good fighter, and it showed here. When he's on it, his striking was accurate. He's going for the body, going body head, defended takedowns well. He's a good wrestler, too, if he wanted to take the fight down. The only problem is he definitely has a focus issue. That's the big thing. During fights, he can lulled into brawls. Santos, big guy, hits hard. Acquitted himself pretty well here, I think he deserves another fight. But as far as McCall goes, what fights are going on? Maybe a John Moraga or John Dodson next. Someone pretty high up there. I liked what I saw from him, Next fight after that, Ronnie Yaya beat Josh Compton by unanimous decision. Pretty uninspired performance by Yaya, to be honest with you. He'd get mount at will. Looked like he was kind of coasting in the third round. Compton couldn't do much against his wrestling. The thing with Yaya, he's on a win streak now, which is good. His wrestling looks really improved, and he has good top control. I would have liked to see more of a finish, or just not more of a finish per se, but just going for more of a finish sometimes. He would hit ground and pound, but there are times where I felt he probably could have took a little more risk, especially in mount, to go for the finish. It looks like he's kind of waiting for Clopton to give up his back, and when that didn't happen, Yaya was just kind of resigned to stay in mount, but it didn't really look like he was really going for for the finish a lot of times, or really trying to go for it sometimes. Granted, in jiu-jitsu, you kind of, when you look for it, it's not there. You gotta have it so you have to force someone into a situation where they're kind of giving it to you, but, maybe a little more ground and pound from Yaya then, especially from mount. His casting didn't look great, but, he's a tough guy. Nonetheless, I I'd give him someone like a Bermudez next, or, maybe an Elkins next, somewhere around the mids, but kind of high up there, one of those more up-and-coming guys. Compton, he looked alright, but I don't know if he's UFC caliber. Next fight after that, Francimar Barroso beat Ednardo Oliveira by unanimous decision. Not a great fight. Oliveira, 2 losses in a row, might get cut. It's Stann, despite having being Junior Dos Santos' sparring partner, didn't look very coordinated at times on the feet. Fight IQ questions too. He would go for the clinch. Barroso, despite the fact that he would back up a lot, maybe throw a leg kick and whatnot, he did take the fight on short notice. So he fought in a way, and it was his first fight in the UFC. So he probably fought in a way that he probably should have to conserve energy. His ground game didn't look too bad. I wonder if he can cut to middleweight, to be perfectly honest with you. Just fighting more lower to mid-tier of his division. And finally, Viscardi Andrade beat Bristol Marunde by TKO in the first round. Marunde is probably going to get cut. I thought he was going to get cut after the Clinton Hester fight, but he'll probably get cut here. Andrade, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but his stand-up looked pretty good. Just fight more lower to mid-tier of the division. So that's pretty much it for my post-fight analysis for UFC 163. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's MMA, and that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.